What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk, featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I'm your gas man, Cam,
I'm your Jack man, Kellen.
I'm your tire changer, Cam.
and we love racing. So, we got another loaded episode after this last weekend. Feel like we always say it, but a lot of storylines, a lot of stuff to discuss, and even some local stuff. We had boots on the ground for a big race here in Madison, Wisconsin with the Joe Shear Classic. So had some boots on the ground, and stay tuned for some of that content to come in the future. But as we always do, how we doing, fellas?
Doing great, but I think we need to address Kellen's background there. He got some additions to the room over
Yeah,
the
that
week.
was honestly that was quite the trip. It was fun. I wasn't there real long, but if you follow Dirt Late Models or Lucas Oil, you'll know that's the 58 of Garrett Alverson. Was kind of on the hunt for a door, and I'm like, I want to get one. Well, shot him a message through their team page, and I ended up actually going right to the shop. They were getting ready to go racing last weekend, and by golly, it worked out great. Fantastic people. I'll just tell you that. Like, man, what do you want, left or right? One of each. I'll take one of each. And super great people. Signed all three pieces. Stuck a couple stickers on even. Leaving, gotten to talk to the team owner. He was super pumped about how they've been running. He was just happier than hell to tell me all about it. So like, no, don't worry. We've been watching on Flow every weekend. So honestly, super cool. I got the other one here. That's the other. That one's a little bit big, but I just had to keep the side up there because the whole thing fit right up on the wall. But no, that was 10 out of 10 experience. That was a pretty cool deal.
When I saw the one that you got up on the wall, and it's that entire side, not just the door.
Yeah. So no,
Insane.
great people. They were running around getting the car ready. I'm like, I'm not gonna be here long. I just want sign it. Here's your money. And take a couple pictures. But yeah, it totally awesome. Great down to earth people.
And that's we've been banging the Gary Alberson drum the last couple weeks about talking about how well he's been running and searching for his first Lucas Oil late model win. But and he didn't win. He hasn't won a Lucas Oil late model race, but I think he brought him a little bit of good juju because he had a pretty dang good weekend himself.
Yeah.
After he paid the shop a visit, so
Yeah.
super cool. And again, I mean, I haven't had a ton of experience, but just the Cedar Lake experience last year, just getting to talk to these guys after the race is super cool. So
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise it was just a great weekend at racing. A lot of action packed racing this weekend, and a lot of some feel good stories, just some good hard racing, and it was just another solid weekend is what it ended up being.
for sure. Yeah. You don't got anything else? You guys ready to dive right in?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
I apologize if you're listening here on Tuesday. We've got a little thunder and lightning in the background. So if you hear a little rumble, that's the building shaking from the thunder.
Yeah, so let's some of us got a little bit shaky internet, so let's pray that we get through this and we don't lose a connection. But um if not, let's do what we always do. Let's jump right into some racing. We're going to take you around the world again and touch on a bunch of different stuff, a bunch of different races, because it feels like we had so many good races this past weekend. We got to try to touch on all of them. But first of all, let's hop right in. World Outlaws late models had their show at Mississippi Thunder Speedway in the great state of Wisconsin, where we are. And from everything I've read, it was just an absolute fantastic weekend for that track. Obviously, if you didn't see it, the Thursday night portion got rained out. So they went to two $25,000 features on Friday and Saturday. And yeah, put on a heck of a show. And I don't think we talked about it, but before we get into the race, one of the big heavy hitting news stories last week for one of the World Outlaws contenders and kind of a popular late model driver, Brandon Shepherd, and his crew chief Randall Edwards parted ways. So uh, don't have all the details on it. I don't know if you guys read much into it other than
So he, before you get too far into that, I'm going to say I brought Alberson the good stuff and I brought Brandon Shepherd the tough because I literally last week went through and watched the crew diaries on Flow Racing where they did him and Randall Edwards and they called him cheeseburger and every time he'd eat a cheeseburger, the camera go ding. It was just funny. And I literally went through last week and I watched all 3 episodes. It's 3 or 5, whatever it was. I watched them start to finish. So bad luck on this end for that. But I mean, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is your driver's got to be comfortable with what he's got. And if it isn't a fit that they need, and especially when you look at a program like that with the Longhorn house team, you're going to have to say that the expectation is it's bare minimum podium when they go out. So,
and I read the Flow article and it did say that they're good family friends. And it didn't sound like it was anything, you know,
harsh.
I think this was his second go around with Randall as well. This
Yes.
is the second time they've been paired together. So didn't seem like anything. It was, whatever. It just, I think, it was Longhorn and Bishop probably expected better. And, guess we could say, as we always do in the dirt world, a mutual parting. Which it didn't take long for Randall Edwards to find another gig, and it didn't take long for Bishop to have a weekend of top 5 finishes. So all is well. So but getting back into the racing. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna just pose a quick question. Did he come over with Shepherd when he went over to Longhorn, or was he a new addition?
He joined him right before the dome.
Okay.
But no, he joined him at Eldora when he won in that camo and orange car. What was that? The
Sure.
Dirt Track World Championships.
Yeah.
That was their first race back together. So right at the end of the year, they got back together and literally picked up a massive win.
Yeah.
Picked up a 6-figure payday.
Because I was gonna say here too, I mean, sure, the wins haven't been there, but he's leading the World Outlaws point standings.
Yeah.
So it's not like the performance isn't there. He's up there consistently.
Yeah.
I will say one thing though, some of the races that I've watched in Flow the last couple weeks, I feel like he's behind the 8 ball. Like he's starting
Having to
the
work his way up.
15 to 19 range, which is not
Like he's not got a great qualifying car, so it puts him back in the heats and all that jazz. And
then he's got a good car, but he doesn't have enough time and he gets the hard charger and drives,
sure.
Whatever. So who knows? But anyways, getting back into the racing, let's jump right into the results. And the stock is rising for old NH9. Nick Hoffman
And a baby.
gets his win, his first or his biggest payday, career payday, and he wins the Friday night show, beats Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepherd were on the podium along with Ryan Gustin and Chris Madden. That rounded out your top 5.
I was watching that race. I was a little worried when Bobby P was coming up the field and there was a late caution there that grouped him back up. I'm like, oh, Bobby's just gonna take off. And nope, Hoffman held his own and actually pulled away and got the win out of her.
Yeah.
He enjoys that place.
He didn't get his dog stuck in the wheel this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Cal, I think you just mentioned it too. Some of his comments after, I believe he put it on out on social media too. After the race, he just said that track is one of his favorite tracks. He loves going there. And then he put out a tweet later in the week, top 5 tracks to race at and top 5 facilities. I believe Mississippi Thunder was in his top 5 tracks to race at. So obviously he loves that place. Gets again a $25,000 payday. That was his biggest win of his career, so he was pretty pumped. And his stock is rising after Rookie of the Year last year. He's potential contender.
After the weekend, he's P2 in points.
And
Yep.
again, we've talked about it week in and week out, but takes one weekend for like that for a driver to get his confidence, his team to start figuring things out, and they can start clicking things off. So good for him. Are you looking for that tweet, old tire chain?
Yeah, and I saw it, I just don't remember where, because it's not like right on his front page
Pretty active
either.
on the old social media. So
Well, here's a tweet 2 days ago. Mississippi Thunder is one of the best tracks in the country. That's all it says.
Let's just cut to the chase on that whole deal.
I gotta find he's pretty
I mean,
vocal.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. But no, that was cool to see. He was obviously very pumped about that win too. And yeah, right after the race, they had a couple, the one crew guy there on the infield. He was very pumped as well. So big win for the team as a whole.
For sure. So
Yeah, and then you
that's a pretty
back,
solid top 5.
yeah, and then backed it up on night 2,
Yeah.
getting a second place finish out of it.
That night 2 was quite the show.
Yeah. Night 2. Ryan Gustin, the Reaper. He gets himself a big win. Nick Hoffman, you guys just alluded to, finishes second. Bobby Pierce finishes third, Brandon Shepard fourth, and Turbo Tyler Erb finishes fifth. But yeah, kind of a wild night there when Gustin slid Bobby for the lead, and he hits the wall and just don't lift until you see Goddard the checkered. He just keeps hammering down, and he maintains the lead, and he takes lead. And then as we were winding down there, I forget if it was 2 laps to go or 3 laps to go. Bobby was trying to get everything he could out of it. He nicks the wall and loses a little bit of momentum, and then Nick Hoffman slid by. So, yeah, again, another awesome race. And I don't know if we want to get on this Nick Hoffman tour, but maybe a little bit of a coming out party for him this past weekend. A
You
win and
guys were making fun of me last year for being a Hoffman fan, and you're starting to come around now a little bit.
We are. We are. I good social media follow, and he's putting the racing part of it together.
And especially with last year being his first year in the late models after running so many years in the modifieds.
Yeah. Little adjustment in the driving style.
And the fact that he's got 3 wins already on the year for the World Outlaws, that's huge. I think,
Yeah.
if I remember right, look at it here. Yeah, he's the top winner of the World Outlaws this year.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Everybody else is sitting at 1, so he's got himself a comfortable lead.
he deleted his tweet on what his top 5
Yeah.
tracks were. It was funny too because he said, before any of you guys tell me your local shitholes are the best tracks, these are tracks I've raced at, in my opinion. So,
But I think that's one of those too, like if you know Nick Hoffman, he calls his car a shit box to start off with. So that's
Yeah.
just par for the course.
Yeah.
But either way, he's got some very good points, and he talked about pace structure a little bit on a tweet he put out as well. But no, just good weekend overall for him. Hopefully, you can build off of it personally.
yeah, love the paint scheme too. Hey, Kellen's rocking a shirt that we got some news we got to talk about too. Um,
Yeah. A little made decision.
Turbo Tyler Erb makes a big announcement. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that.
Just decided Lucas Oil isn't it. So he's going to be what you consider outlaw, and he's just going to pick and choose where he wants to run. And again, I think it kind of goes back to the crew chief decision. A driver's got to be comfortable and confident going to a racetrack, and if the Lucas Oil doesn't fit him or his driving style or his team, then you got to make a decision to do what's best for your operation. They've just decided that that's where they got to go.
Because he's been running a few of the Hunt the Front races, hasn't he? Or unless I'm thinking of something
There was
else.
one I think he ran. He ran one early, I believe. But yeah, he kind of was when he had that off time. He was kind of hunting around a little bit, and picking, choosing some stuff. So, I mean, he's been on Lucas Oil for a long, long time, so it'll be a little bit of a change, not being with Lucas Oil. But hey, again, drivers got to be confident and comfortable, and if that's not it, then decisions are made.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about it too, me and you, and we were texting when the news broke. First off, we love Turbo. Me and Kellen both ironically bought the same exact Turbo shirts. So we love Turbo, but it was kind of like the most expected, unexpected news. Like, when me and Kellen, we were talking, like, you just feel like in the Lucas Oil, like he's just like a 5 to 9 guy in the points.
Yeah.
Like, Lucas Oil is the best of the best. You're racing Ricky Thornton, Jonathan Davenport, Devin Moran. Like, you're
Huddy.
racing Huddy, you're racing some absolute hammers. And it's no shame on him, but it just felt like he's a 5 to 9 guy. So why not just pick and choose? And I don't know what little local track he was at this past weekend, but I saw he got a $5,000 win. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, let's pray he comes back to Cedar Lake because he was an absolute goon when we talked to him. But
love that character. He's good. He's also good for social media to follow.
if you want to get hit with the most random facts at the most random time, his racing page is where you'll find it. So yeah. Obviously a solid weekend for Lucas Oil. Not Lucas Oil, World Outlaws. So kind of sad we weren't there, but yeah. From one World Outlaws series to the next, potential race of the year candidate. If you've been on social media or were fortunate enough to watch, but the World Outlaw Sprint Cars at Jacksonville. I'll just kick it to you guys. What initial thoughts do you have?
So they had 56 cars there to start with because high limit rained out. So a lot of them guys said, hey, they rained out. They called it early enough. We're packing. We're going to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
We're going to go race with the Outlaws. And that was probably a good thing because my God, that they had themselves a hell of a race.
And how about the absolute just bull ring of a racetrack?
Quarter mile track, shortest on the schedule. So, I mean, yeah, it was a who's who of as everybody that was there, but it kind of came down as far as the guys that were up front, kind of came down to 4 guys. Kyle Larson, Gio Scelzi, David Gravel, and Cole Foyt, and really 5, Corey Day as well. I mean, them guys were the sliders were going at it, and the side-by-side action, they were 3 wide at one point in time coming out of one of the turns. I mean, they were just racing like all hell, and they caught lap traffic early. But they went flag to flag. They went green to checkered in that race.
And you always love to see that, though. Especially these guys, when you wreck hard. But
yeah,
to be able to see them go checkered like that, and especially little bull ring, that's again a tip of the cap to the way these guys can drive these cars and the talent that they really do have.
Yeah, a lot of guys were the Larson. I mean, damn near every lap, he was bouncing either off the turn 2 or the turn 4 wall. And I mean, it killed his momentum a little bit, but I mean, he just had a rocket hitting the top line. But gravel just kept reeling him in and put pressure on him. And sooner or later, Larson got caught by a lapper. Um, Kinzer. Kinzer crossed him over after Larson slid him and gravel shot right by, was able to take the lead and pull away. But yeah, them guys were just hauling the mail around there.
Yeah. The highlights I saw were pretty badass.
Yeah, and I think as much as it's fun to see, a bigger third mile or half mile where those guys can almost like slipstream, down a straightaway when they're running the top side and you just get a huge run. Some of these bull rings, I think you can argue produces the best racing.
Got to get up in the wheel and driver.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. I don't know where your allegiance lies on how you want lap traffic to play a factor in it, but it's fun watching, the best of the best bob and weave their way through lap traffic. Just another,
It's a part of the race, but you didn't take the leaders out in the process.
yeah, it's just another challenge and another opportunity for those guys to show why they're the best of the best. So yeah, obviously David Gravel gets the win.
And one of the points I want to make too is, like I said, a lot of people said it was race of the year. Johnny Gibson at the booth, obviously, he praised that it was race of the year. Matt Weaver, who does a lot more NASCAR and short track stuff, asphalt side, he said it was race of the year. Nick Hoffman chimed in, said that it was a hell of a race. I mean, just everybody from all disciplines were chiming in and saying, yep, that's a bona fide race of the year contender right there.
Yeah, that's at the end of the day, that's all we can ask for.
I can
Yeah,
imagine. I bet you being at that track, I mean, you couldn't turn somewhere and not see action going on.
And you're gonna get to see that when we go down to Davenport.
Yeah.
I was down to Davenport last year for super lates. When we go down there for high limit, I'm just telling you, strap on your lookers because there's going to be cars everywhere.
well, it almost is like that at Cedar Lake too. It takes a green flag run, and it's just there is no gap. There's cars literally for that feature.
Yeah.
Like you just pick a spot on the track
Yep.
and you just stare at one spot and say, I'm just gonna watch this because yeah, I mean,
But Kellen, I mean, you caught part of that at Slinger a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So when the Nationals come around, I mean, it's going to be a
Yep.
lot of the same thing there.
Yep.
which I wasn't at either of those races, but you forget how awesome it is, thinking about the Cedar Lake experience last year now that you guys mentioned it, how beneficial it is to have an announcer. Because when you're sitting there, it's like, at times, some of the guys are when they're racing lap traffic, you might be like, those lap guys, they race hard. A lot of them aren't just going to pull over. So it's like,
Yep.
They're also racing for position, racing for points.
Yep.
yeah. And so when you're at the racetrack and it's, those small bull rings and it's just cars, there's no gap. You don't know where the leader is. And it's like, I didn't realize that announcer is
On
beautiful,
it.
beautiful for that. So,
No,
yeah,
like I said, race of the year, everybody did a phenomenal job. Everybody, I mean, there was plenty of guys involved. And if you haven't seen it, you got Dirt Vision, get it because it's worth the rewatch of the race.
For sure.
yeah. Any other final thoughts on the old wing sprints?
Awesome.
Yep. Got it down on the list of our race of the year contenders. So we'll maybe revisit that one at the end of the year and see where she ranks.
Yep. Well, let's get off the dirt for the rest of the night. Let's get into some asphalt. Obviously, we mentioned we had some boots on the ground this weekend. we had a little Midwest Truck Series race at Madison International Speedway, and I was watching online, and we're talking about the boys racing. The boys were racing in the Truck Series, so um, kick it off to you two. You guys were boots on the ground. What thoughts did we have on the old Truck Series?
A good second race on the schedule. Guys race side by side. The front 10 were together basically.
So to that point, and I think I'm going to reference the winner from the Joe Shear just for a second here. Ty Majeski said this place is just so hard to pass when Greg sprays the top. Well, when you got kicked out, I was watching, or I was in right before you when I was down in the pits. They sprayed that second groove, and I'm telling you what, they sprayed it. They put the sticky stuff down, and that brought that second groove to life.
Oh yeah.
So now when you look at this truck series, the trucks are just they're so even across the board.
Yep.
That makes the racing that much better. But when the inside's the preferred groove, now you put a little sticky stuff out there, somebody in a little different gear might be able to run that outside and hang on and or make a little ground. So before we even get into the race, that there's that component of it too, that they sprayed the outside before they even got the day started. So they were trying to bring that second groove to life.
Yeah.
And
But
I don't, I forget who it was, but it was on the broadcast. I'm not watching. I want to say it was probably for, I don't know, 10 laps or so. Is Eugene Gregorich. I think it was James Swan and maybe Bryce Miller and Vanderloop. It was a group of 4 that
Oh
were just,
man.
they were all grouped up.
it was
Guy
like that 6, 7, 8, 9
Yeah.
range.
Yeah,
Group.
and they were just like you said, Kellen. They were just too wide, and nobody would give an inch. And they were just side by side, good, hard, clean racing for is probably 10 or so laps.
Because I was even thinking too that with that group going at it, Reichenberger couldn't make any moves.
Yeah, he was just sitting there spectating, waiting for something to happen. He's,
Yep.
I don't know, a truck or two back, and just he was a front row seat to all the action. But to your
Because they
point,
do have a 3 wide rule. You can't go 3 wide in the truck series. So throw that out there.
There's a little debate around that after the race.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, they don't know if they ever did make a call on it, but there was a one truck in particular was in question that he did it twice, and the tower didn't catch it, is what I was hearing.
Yeah.
But
you guys gonna throw some names out there? Or?
it'd have been the Black 93 at Chester Ace. Yep. Yeah, I just put that out there.
I missed the one instance where we were 3 wide. I caught the very end of it, so I didn't see how it started.
I didn't either. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't catch it, but that's just when we were down. I walked on the pits after that was kind of the question of there was a couple other drivers that there's another crew chief actually that was looking for an official. He had some not in a I don't want to say a confrontational way, but he had some questions about what went on there.
Just want clarification.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, really was no wrecked trucks except for one.
Yeah, and I don't even remember how the one caution came out originally.
Moyer. Well, no.
Nope, that was at the end of the race.
Oh, those guys got turned around and won. There's
yes,
2 trucks.
That's right. Yep, just a couple guys got together and
you got turned around, but they both ended up driving away.
Yep, and then that 144 got caught in the grass, and
I missed it in where we were sitting. So Cam, I couldn't figure this out, and then you texted us where we were sitting. So he was on the backside of turn 3 of the quarter mile. In that grass kind of goes down, and that tow truck, that flatbed was parked right there. And I actually could not see that truck. I'm like waiting. I'm like, what are we waiting for? And
yeah,
I'm waiting,
same.
and I'm waiting and waiting. And I turn around, and there you look, and the tow truck goes out and backs out. And then I started watching the big screen in the infield. Like there's one over in the pickers.
Yeah.
Under caution, he's in the pickers.
I turned the tower on, and I'm like, what are we waiting for? And they're like, I heard John Wood come on the radio and he said, "Oh, we got a truck stuck in turn 3." I'm like, "Turn 3? I don't see anything." And then yeah, that truck moved. I'm like, "Well, there he is."
That flatbed had to
I
pull it to go get him out, and I'm like, what the hell?
Where were you guys sitting?
Right,
There's start finish line.
right, about 6 feet to the right of the start finish line.
But we were about halfway down the stands.
Mhm.
Could you see turn 2?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought he was stuck on the inside of turn 2.
Nope,
no.
it was 3.
It's right in the middle of 3. Yeah, I don't know how the speculation.
Yep. The speculation was that they were catching up because he was towards back to back. They were catching up after the double file cone shoes, and they checked up in front of him, and he did the kind of spin to avoid hitting somebody and just spun himself into the grass.
Yeah, that was at one point I was listening on the radio, and one of the drivers goes, "Wow, they're really making a production of this." But at the end of the day, we got to remember that it rained on Friday a little bit, so the grass was a little soft. So you got to be careful.
Didn't it rain Saturday too?
Not down here, it didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, remember you had to be a little bit careful pulling that truck out because at the end of the day, you pull that truck out the wrong way, you tear the nose off of it, and
Yeah.
he's
Yep.
done for the day, which would be an awful turn of events for him anyway. So
Gotta do it right.
Wisconsin, it poured most of Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, like it was downpour. But I will say one thing: when you were looking at from the live stream, and you were looking at, you could see the mud tracks of exactly his tire marks of where he went, and when they pulled him out, and I'm just like, you could tell the grass was
There's a
wet.
reason why he was stuck. Yep.
Yeah.
luckily,
So,
at the end of the day, luckily they were able to get him out and he got to rejoin the field.
Yeah.
He did finish the race. So that was
Yep.
the 44 of Kane.
Yep.
yeah.
Otherwise, let's talk about so they're racing there down to the end. Holtz and Aaron Moyer were racing each other. And Moyer had himself a moment.
Yeah, they interviewed him after race. He said he got a little loose and he didn't lift.
He pancaked that wall too.
He hit it pretty hard.
And it's just one of those that that was coming to the white
Yeah.
that he pancaked that wall. And then yeah, he went and turned. I mean, that thing was smoking the entire time. Hit 1 and 2. He got passed in 1 and 2. Hey, you got a guest.
Hey, buddy. You could smell the rear end when you went by.
Yep, down the backstretch, and as soon as he went in 3, you saw that tire go, and he just was holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
Just trying to crawl to the finish line.
Yeah. Yep. So he had the truck to beat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He
And
absolutely had the
Holtz
truck to beat.
was gaining on him. He
Yeah.
was gaining him and then lost a little ground, gaining on him, lost a little ground, and just had a little luck go his way. And he said he hates to win a race like that, but he isn't going to give it away either.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think Holtz wasn't going to have enough to get there. Holtz was going to need another 4 or 5 laps, and he'd have been right there. But again, you got to be in the catbird seat to get lucky every once in a while.
Yep.
You're good to see him win though.
Oh yeah.
So I think they said that was his 3rd Truck Series win, I believe.
Maybe.
So,
yeah.
pretty sure it was his 3rd. But
yeah, and you guys, I mean,
so it's another new face in Victory Lane Truck Series. You got 2 races, you got 2 different winners.
yeah. And I was gonna say too, from the live stream, like you said, he didn't Holtz wasn't gonna get there. He was just maintaining, but he was close enough to make Moyer feel he was basically close enough that, God willing, a mistake happened, he could strike.
Yep.
And that was the only way he was gonna get a win. And he wasn't putting a ton of pressure on Moyer, but again, he was close enough that Moyer knew if he made a mistake, he was going to get pounced. And
yep, sure enough.
Unfortunately, that's what happened. I didn't even look at because I was looking. He was limping it in 1 and 2 when he got passed, and he was going down the backstretch. But then in 3 and 4,
that's when the tire blew.
That rear end swung out, and I'm like, please, do not go when he lost the tire and his back end just swings out. And I'm like, do
Yup.
not go
Don't
back
cut
down the
down.
track
Yup.
and wreck the entire
Because
side.
everybody's going all hells to the wall coming to the checkered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just that truck series, it puts on good racing because
Yep.
those trucks are just that close. The way the rule package is set up that way, that those trucks are just that close, and it just makes the racing that much better. So
Yep, 100%.
so yeah.
that was a hell of a 35 lap or 36 lap feature.
Yep.
That almost is like the truck series, the NASCAR truck series. I mean, when those boys are racing, it's fun to watch. And yeah, before the big show, I was watching and pleasantly surprised with the show those guys put on, and it was a fun race to watch. So
Had a lot of trucks too.
Got 27 of them.
Yeah.
27, and they started the whole field. So,
And again, not a lot of smashed up equipment. So
Live to race another day.
So
amen.
yeah. Truck series, a lot of hard racing. As we mentioned, Jeff Holtz gets the win, Derek Dewar, Chester Ace, Jacob Nost, Eugene Gregorich, round out your top five. And then it was James Swan, Bryce Miller, Cody Vanderloop, Brandon Reichenberger, and then your leader there coming to the white flag, Moyer finishes top 10. So good series, putting on awesome racing for us in the state of Wisconsin. Fun to watch. And yeah, be looking forward to following that series throughout the summer. So any other final thoughts on the old truck series?
They are back in action May 18th for the final go of it at State Park Speedway. So yeah, just a short, little over a week here, and they're back at it. So good race, fun to watch.
Yeah.
Always produces great racing with the truck series. So
You guys don't have any other final thoughts on the truck series? Going once, going twice.
oh,
All right. Well,
Talk about the main event.
let's stay right at Madison International Speedway and let's jump right into the main event. And the Joe Shear Classic 200. And if you didn't see, there's a bounty that was put out for Ty Majeski versus the field. And the ball was in your court if you were going to take Majeski or the field. And it's just nuts. It's crazy, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to throw it to you guys, boots on the ground in the stands. Was it as disappointing for you guys at the track as it was on the live stream?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
no,
it wasn't disappointing, but it's just
you had some comers and goers. You had about 5 of them.
yeah, and the guy that everybody thought was going to be able to pull that off. Well, there was 2 guys really, Sommers and Johnson.
Yep.
I mean, I think them about were your 2 guys that you think we're gonna pull that off.
I think Zier would have had a good shot. I don't know that he had the car to win it, but he's gonna be somebody that's gonna be tough to pass late in the race. It being that he was ahead of Majeski with the invert.
Yep.
And that invert was deep.
9+.
It was 9 plus the roll. Where the roll was
it was 14.
It was yeah,
roll
so
to 5.
5. So they inverted quite a few, and Zier kind of had a catbird seat. Him and Johnson, they were the ones initially that kind of took off, and they were pacing the field.
Yeah. And that was the thing too, was and that's how the race kind of ended up playing was very few cautions. So you had a lot of long green flag runs up until the competition caution. So you were trying to conserve your tires for that following restart because you weren't going to pit, or you're going to play that oddball game and pit early and try and catch them at the end.
And again, you know, it kind of goes with the truck series. We had, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we had 2 cautions for incident.
Because we
It
had
was,
the one for DeAngelis, which that's just a bad instance there. He caught the wall there a little bit, and then the tire, or no, I caught him on the radio saying that right front was just wearing down really hard,
yeah,
and then she ultimately blew and into the wall he went.
caught the wall. Was there one other caution for instance or no? No,
Wasn't there
because
another one in 2?
Zier,
Zier broke on
oh
the restart, but they didn't throw a caution.
no, because he got thrown out of the way. He kind of stacked the field up a little bit, but he got out of the way. No, that might have been the only one.
Yeah, because everybody else pretty much just broke or yeah, yep, that was the only one I think.
Yeah, again, played into a lot of strategy. And what it comes down to, I guess, when we start to look at more so the strategy of the race, uh, did Summers use it up a little bit too much? I don't know if he did or not. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Majeski's just, I mean, he's good. You can't deny it.
No, no, not at all. It's hard to say
I think, and I
if
think
he's
that's
just
just
gonna
right
kind
up his wheelhouse too.
yeah. He's good on those long races, and you know, thinking back on it, especially with him running the national tour last year, when you have all those races are long races that he just in that car, he knows exactly what he needs to
Yep.
be there at the end.
Yep.
There's no denying that that car was going to be lights out no matter what.
And I think he's gotten better at that tire conservative game lately, especially with that national tour. Because he used to be, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, he was atrocious when it came to saving tires. I remember one year specifically, it was him and Sauter at Oktoberfest. They stayed out when everybody else pit, and I mean, they almost got lapped. No, they did get lapped. I think they almost got lapped twice in that race,
Ouch.
something like that. It might have been once because they ended up coming back and finishing in the top 5. But I mean, it was just amazing how bad they were on those old tires.
Yeah.
So those longer national races kind of helped them with the conserving those tires a little bit, I think.
That's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what he did all of last year.
Yep.
150, 200 lap features.
And then how about I mean, we touched on Zier braking a little bit on that restart. He's lucky nobody else piled into him because that thing was broke.
I thought the rear end was going to come off from underneath the
I
car.
thought so too. Yeah. I thought he had a loose tire. Like they didn't get all the nuts or something, or a broken axle.
There was a lot of wiggle in that rear end.
Yeah, and then when he finally made that turn, you just saw the whole entire rear end wiggle, like you were saying. That's when it's like, yep, he was either track bar or Panhard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, until he broke, he ran in the top, pretty much top 6.
Yep. And then did you catch Johnson's almost spin?
Uh, Nason wasn't going to lift.
No.
Before we move on from Zier, can one of you guys do you know definitively where he's from?
He's from Florida.
It says Michigan, but I think the shop's in Verona.
Michigan. That's a
At one,
new one.
at one
Well,
point,
last year one of his races he put like he was from Menominee, Michigan.
yeah,
And then on the race on Sunday it says he's from Daytona Beach, Florida.
See, he puts Daytona Beach all the time on there.
And I want to know if he's bluffing or if he's because he's not running these races if he's
he
No,
lives up.
well, yes, he lives up here. I think he works up here. But I'm he's originally, if I heard a conversation right, I don't remember when I heard it or how long or where I heard it, but he's from Florida originally.
Okay. And fair enough. And if Dalton's here, if you're listening to this, please just clear the air
Correct us.
for us. Yes. Clear the air for us so we can stop guessing.
It don't tell us you're from parts unknown either, because he's pulled that one off too.
Oh my God. I think I think the shop is in Verona, I believe.
Correct. Yep. Shops in Verona. He'll put that one on there every once in a while too.
Yup. Must be a wheel in the truck to spin the wheel. Where are you from today?
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously he broke. I know we kind of talked on it already, but mentioned Summers burning his stuff up, but really solid run for him. And something he I want to say desperately, but something he
It's a
needed.
rebound.
Yeah. From the start of the year, speed weeks, and then a few weeks ago at Slinger when he was if you didn't see our short, he was up in smoke in the old hauler there a couple weeks ago. So good solid run from him, Central Wisconsin guy. So good to see him rebound and get a good run.
And at the end of the day, he's got a good team around him. They'll have a really good car under him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will have a good car. It's just gonna be, can the parts stay together? Can the engine stay running for him?
I mean, he wasn't handed the Midwest Tour Championship for nothing either. He earned it.
Nope. Absolutely not. That's a season. He only won once on the Midwest Tour last year. So there was, well, technically twice with Oktoberfest, but he had the points race.
Yep.
And he did.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Another guy we'll touch on, this kind of brings in like the top five, like Majeski, Summers, Brett Edmonds. Hell of a race.
Yeah.
And he's a weekly guy, isn't he?
I don't know where he runs weekly.
I've seen him run before. I just don't remember where.
He ran Icebreaker at the Dells.
Yep.
I thought they said he's a weekly.
Because Madison doesn't run supers. They run NASCAR late models.
Yeah, they run late models. But what it comes down to at the end of the day, to be up there with those teams, he had a hell of a day. He had an absolute hell of a day. He was fast in qualifying too. Qualified fourth.
He is
or
a
fifth.
Madison regular. Yep. So he must have converted that car over to a super for the weekend.
But he's somebody that he qualified lights out too.
Yep. Yep. And just got his way. He stayed up there.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little bit of help with the attrition that race had, and guys kind of coming and going, and just stayed up there.
Yeah.
He was bringing it to Sommers too there for a while.
Yeah, he was fast.
Was he Majeski fast? No, but he could have very well gotten second.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that was cool to see him run well. You could tell how happy he was getting out of the car to finish third. Especially in a race like that where it's a
big race.
Yeah, it's a big race, and it's a little bit of a marathon too, because that's a 200 lapper. So
200 lapper on a half-mile track.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of mentioned it already, but Ty Majeski, Gabe Sowers, Brett Edmonds, Casey Johnson, former champ, finishes fourth. Justin Mondike, Ty Fredrickson, Paul Schaefer, Luke Venhouse, Vandergeest, Ryan Farrell. That's your top 10.
Farrell had a little bit of a ballsy call there, staying out on that last pit stop.
You did. In the back of my mind, he was running out there. I'm like, one car will go by. I'm like, is he still a net positive? But he did. He definitely came out net positive on that.
Fredrickson damn near lost it too on that restart. Spun the tires.
Yeah. Kind of stacked up that outside line a little bit.
Yep. Was that the same restart that Zier broke?
Oh, no. I think that was later. I think that was the very last comp caution.
Yes. Yeah, I think
Right,
it
that
was.
was the very last comp caution. Zero was the one before that.
Oh man.
Because Zero made, I think he made 112 laps. I think he ran before he
Yeah.
broke. And that last one was like with like 30 to go.
Yep. Yep. You're right. Yep.
So yeah, he maybe got lifted a little bit too. Somebody pushed a little too hard, but either way, kind of shuffled that outside line a little bit, in terms of getting those guys going. So,
Yep.
dude, the
Gotta
sun,
go put the blind up.
well, the sun is in and out. There's a cloud there too. So give it 30 seconds. It's going to go under. It's been doing this for the last 10 minutes. Driving me nuts.
Um, yeah. I was gonna say another name too. We love seeing at the track and definitely wins the award for best hair. In the old 7S, Paulie Schaefer.
Ollie Schaefer in that thorn red from the Snowball Derby.
Hey, the Sunday red on.
Yep.
No,
I
just
tuned
good to see
into
him
him a
back.
little bit on the radio. There was a little bit of knocking the rust off for
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't think he's run at Madison since the Stars Tour a year ago.
Correct. Did he run Leto?
Oh,
There's I'm
now you
looking
got
at the results right now.
now you got me
No, he did
questioning.
not.
He did not. Yeah, I
He
thought
did not.
so. He hasn't been there in a year. So no, I mean, knocked a little rust, but at the end of the day, he finished well in a big race.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was when he qualified in well. The crowd was excited. So fan favorite.
Yep, for
Yeah.
sure.
Um, as we kind of wrap this conversation up, I was gonna give you guys just a random question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you guys grade that race?
7.5, 8.
I was gonna say 7.8 was my number. It's all about track position and strategy.
Yep.
One where you're gonna put your two fresh ones on.
And kind of circling back to like you're having the announcers, calling the race for you, at the racetrack, obviously you can't really hear them, but I think having the radios on, and I think Kellen, you could attest to this as well.
Yeah.
It keeps you in tune with the race. You're checking in with guys, seeing how they're handling and doing that as well. So
And that's where when it gets close to that comp caution, the odds are you're probably going to at most know what two guys are going to be doing for tires by the time you can listen to one, try to flip to another to see what they're going to do. So
yeah.
broadcast gives you a little better bird's eye view in terms of what guys are doing with tires too. So
And I would say one thing it is nice for the announcing, but one thing that sucks about a broadcast, which you can about imagine, is when you get a side by side battle or a group of three that are just banging and racing hard, and then they're just panned in on the leader. And it's like, come on, don't quit showing me Majeski running by himself. Get back to,
Yep. And that's the
fourth,
thing
fifth,
with being at the race
sixth.
too, is you can catch a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And I can only about imagine, obviously with like the NASCAR scanner, I've got, Cal, you need sunglasses, brother.
I got to fix this, you guys. I can't do it anymore.
I think you'll still be able to hear us, so you can at least chime in. Um, I will say one thing though, being at the track and being able to listen in, like even NASCAR, being able to listen to a spotter, that is just
Next,
yeah, next level experience. If you're, love racing, like it is so fun to listen to those guys. It's rated R.
Listener discretion is advised.
Don't give that headset to your 7-year-old kid and say they're going to talk nice to each other because
Words will be said.
Words will be said, but yeah,
Yeah.
that is really fun too. I think, being able to, when you're at the track like that and say, hey, you know, Majeski and Fredrickson are going at it side by side, and Paulie Schaefer's like, hey, I'm just gonna pan between these couple guys and listen to what they're saying as they're, duking it out. And
Yeah.
that's super cool.
Yep, for sure. So no, I mean, good race. Obviously still early in the season for them, so it'll be great to see how the rest of their schedule plays out. Next one is going to be not this Saturday, but no, 3
25th.
Saturdays from now, 25th.
Yep.
Saturday
20
before Memorial Day
For the salute the troops.
at Jefferson, which your boys will be there for that one as well.
Yep. Locked in.
So yeah, any other final thoughts on the Joe Shear Classic?
No, good race.
Yep.
2 years in a row, I got absolutely sunburnt as all hell. Cooked. So there's that.
Must not have taken the advice that we gave on the do's and don'ts of going to the track a couple weeks ago.
No, I did.
Nope. I can attest to that. He applied.
Hey,
3 rounds of SPF 70 didn't get the job done.
But what's the rule about applying? Is it every 30 minutes? I think you
I
gotta
sure wasn't following that.
I think you gotta reapply every 30 minutes or something, or every hour. Yeah, what were you saying before? I don't know if this was serious or not, but you said when you were watching a race when old tire changer got kicked out.
What?
Huh?
Before you said you said something. I think it was during the truck race. There was a caution. You're like, yeah, it happened right when Van Grohl when you got kicked out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't
Oh.
either.
I guess I must be hearing stuff.
I've never been kicked out of a race, that's for sure.
Did you go somewhere when something happened?
No.
Okay.
Oh, when the races started, I was planted.
I don't know where you're lost.
All right. Forget I said anything.
Mass-
Anyway. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah, Sheer Classic. Was fun to watch. Super late model racing is getting back into the swing of things. It's fun to watch. And they put on good racing. So
I mean, now that I think about it, Cam, you are right. He did go use the facilities at the racetrack, and then they closed them down.
come
He goes, man,
on.
I gotta go to the bathroom. And the next thing you know, they make an announcement, turn 4 bathrooms are closed.
We'll call that a tag team effort.
Wow.
No.
Unreal. Hey, but for those of us, I've been this is what we need to start doing. So I bring the weekly segment, I bring the whiteboard with the message.
Oh no.
And I haven't been lucky enough to get to as many racetracks as you guys have, or races that you guys have been to already this year. But this is what we're gonna do. We talked about do's and don'ts at the racetrack. We're gonna do a weekly check-in. Did anybody venture and try something new at the concession stand, or what was the order at the concession stand this weekend?
Nope.
Oh, I thought about it.
Nope. Cheeseburger.
I had the course of the day. I had 3 cheeseburgers, but I did think
Oh,
about the redneck Sunday.
You were thinking about it?
I thought about it.
Oh.
Mac and
Alright,
cheese,
so
pulled pork, mac and cheese, coleslaw, and a pickle spear. Thought about it. I really did.
yeah, that's gonna be. I'll bring the whiteboard each week, and then you guys are gonna report on concession stand. What was the order at the concession stand? Anything
Good.
unique on the menu that you guys are like? Oh,
They've got a pit stop burger.
Yep.
It's a burger, it's a brat patty.
Yep.
I forget what the third one is.
It's brock patty, 2 slices of cheese, and there might be something on the top. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
I
brock
forget
patty
what the
burger.
hell it is,
Yeah.
but on a pretzel bun.
Oh, and a pretzel bun. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
I saw that. I'm like, I don't know if I'm that venturous, but that doesn't sound too bad.
No. But no, I thought about it. I had 3 cheeseburgers, and God dang, were they good.
Grandpa had nachos going.
All right. Yep, for sure.
Man, girl, you just stuck with the standard cheeseburger as well.
Yep. Cheeseburger, a couple waters.
It was hot.
Okay. Well, that's going to be the weekly check-in. What was on the menu and what did you guys do? So,
Keep you updated. I'm going to a racetrack on Friday night, so we'll try something different.
Saturday afternoon.
No.
cool. Yeah, so obviously good race. Cool to have some boots on the ground there. Fun to watch, but let's jump right in. I know we were all kind of busy on Sunday afternoon. Kansas was a little bit delayed, but we were able to get it in and get racing. And boys, we had the closest finish ever.
What a hell of a race.
So I don't know where we want to start. We're all kind of busy, but just kick it off to you guys. We can do a little quick hitter on the closest finish ever in NASCAR history. So, what thoughts you guys got?
I vaguely remember somebody in this group, this trio here. I want to say it was you, Cam. I'm going to call you out here a little bit.
Oh boy,
I said that Kansas was going to be a race of the year contender, and you said, "Oh, you crazy," because you didn't think they had the lines like they used to.
He did say that.
And here we are.
well, I stand corrected.
But no, like, so I listened to it on the radio because I was on my way back to
Oh, it was
Madison.
a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Kraus, and I just said it's going to be a shitty race because of the air blocking, and it's going to be super hard to pass.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Um,
that's one and the same.
but anyways, so I was listening to the race on the way back, and they had their first caution on like at 82 or something like that. And the announcers came on and said that's the best 82 laps of racing you're ever gonna see. And then it could just continued on after that.
Oh, that's yeah. I caught. So we were on the way back. I flipped it on. There was 85 to go in the race, so I caught majority of right at the end of stage 2, going into stage 3 as I kind of got home there. And
Well,
that's
so
kind of
that
what
you caught all of like the caution breed cautions.
yeah, we had the guys that just couldn't keep off of each other, coming off of 2 on the back stretch, going into 1. And then they had that incident 3 with LaJoy. Bubba got turned around like twice. It was just kind of, yeah, the boys were racing hard. Nobody was giving an inch.
Yeah.
But
So I didn't get tuned into all of it. I tuned in actually, I think on the first lap I saw was 85 laps to go. So
yeah,
I
Yeah,
did
the in
I saw
between.
go ahead.
I was gonna say the in between was definitely as good as the first 80 some odd laps. I mean, you had guys coming and going, you had side by side racing. I mean, the turn announcers, I mean, just every lap, it's just you heard turn announcers just calling action all over the track. So the radio
yeah.
call was phenomenal.
I don't know if you guys saw the highlight of the old Chris Buescher.
Shooting through the
All the
middle of the
five
front
wide.
stretch.
Oh my gosh.
The kahunas, my guy.
If you
That
haven't
that
seen it, go back and find it.
that was very reminiscent of Cindric doing four wide at Atlanta
Yep.
earlier in the year.
You bet.
Do you see the in-car camera shot of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bonkers.
The in-car camera shots this week was good because I also saw Chase Elliott. It was on that 2 to go, and him and Truex were going at it. You just saw Truex come up the track coming off a 2, and you just see Elliott just woof.
Yep. Yeah, there were some pretty tense moments there with those guys running 3 wide and the runs that they were getting coming off the corners.
Yeah. And it I do I'll be the first to say I stand corrected on any statement I made knocking Kansas, because when you were watching some of the highlights, it was coming down to down the stretch there in the stage 3, I mean, you had guys everywhere on the track. Guys running the apron, guys running right through the middle. You got guys running way up on the wall, and it was fantastic.
Yep.
That was crazy.
So yeah, Larson, obviously, I mean, incredible.
There's a reason why he's the wheelman that he is. The fact that talk about that move out of 4 where he was able to get in between Busher and the wall
Yep.
to start making that run to the finish.
Yep.
I mean, that got him the win. It wasn't the bump going down the front stretch or anything like that. It was just the fact that he made that move.
And I listened to I think I sent it to you guys in the group chat, the audio at the end of the race, and they were talking to Larson, and Cliff Daniel goes, I don't know. My monitor says 0.000. And he's like, and Larson was, I don't want to say excited to finish second, but he's like, dang it, we were there. Like,
He
that was
wanted
fun.
it.
And then they all of a sudden go, no, we won, we got him. And then he went crazy.
Yeah, it was when I listened to that video, it was Daniels came on the radio and goes P2. And then Larson said, wow, dang, that sucks. Like, good job, guys. That was fun. And then Daniels goes, yeah, P2, my monitor shows 0.000. And then about halfway down the backstretch or into 3, his spotter came on and was just going absolutely nuts. We effing got it. We got it, boys. And then Daniels came on and said, yep, they gave it to us P1.
Yep.
But to your point, I don't know if you guys did you guys see the in-car of him?
That one I did.
I might have.
I do not understand how somebody can do it. From his in-car cam, it just like he's literally running an inch off the wall.
Yep.
And if he hits it, he don't get it.
Yep.
Are we witnessing a once in a lifetime driver?
Absolutely. 100%. Yep. Which is why I'm personally so intrigued, and I hope you guys watch on Sunday too, the Indy 500. Or
I will
the
now.
Memorial Day Sunday.
Well, I will now.
I mean,
I just, from everything he does to the IndyCar test and the IndyCar practice to the Cup Series to the wing sprint to he can win in the late model if he wants to.
midget cars and just.
Yep. You just keep every moment. You just go. You might not ever see this ever again in the history of the sport. Just racing in general.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy what this guy's doing with race cars.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is he makes it seem so casual.
Oh yeah.
When you talk to him, he's like, yeah, we had a good car. Could have done this. And, I didn't know if we had it. But then he does shit like this. And he's just like, man, that was fun.
Yeah.
You're just like, you kidding me? Oh, dude. You can't look away.
No, absolutely not. So we gotta cherish this for what it is. 2 points that I want to touch on. Point 1, we gotta talk about the other side of this. Chris Buescher. I mean, somebody made a comment of, how would I rather lose? Be on the jack stands on lap 10 or lose by 0.001 seconds? And the guy made the comments like, I'd rather be on jack stands on lap 10. The fact that you're that close.
The misery of that moment.
Yep. And especially since I think it's amplified by the fact that the pylon had him winning. They were all celebrating initially, and it literally got taken away from him.
No.
And the camera angle.
Which then there's the start finish line, which, oh God, here we go. All right, so Cam just pulled out his whiteboard here for the folks that are listening. You got to hold it up a little bit, bud.
Pick it up just a little bit.
There you go. My all-time favorite freehand painting is the Kansas finish line. Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So, hey, let's not mind you. We have a black Sharpie on the wall written in there somewhere for the Three Stones pit crew.
You are absolutely right. And it's on it, well, it was on the start finish line, but
It might not be there with the weather, but it was there at one point in the fall.
it was.
We did paint our finish line.
Wow.
That was good.
But yeah, it sucks to lose that way, but I think again, NASCAR made the right call. They went back to their video evidence and showed, hey, the line it's not an official line. We have an actual camera that has it, and
There's a loop.
yep.
Yeah.
Which now is I put that on there too, just because obviously I've been reading a lot of stuff on the internet, like who painted that line? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if anybody saw the Jeff Gluck video on Sunday night when he was on the track and said, we really don't even need a start and finish line. Because
It's
he's like, this is
yeah.
based off of the camera that's on the infield is the ultimate determinant of who's the winner. This line is,
It's for show.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
It helps with the photo finish,
Yeah.
but that's again, it's not ultimately the one that decides it.
Yeah, makes for cool pictures.
Yeah. Yep.
And at the end of the day, knowing where the sport started, you can't take that away.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It's like getting rid of the flagmen. Dear God, don't get rid of the flagmen.
Yep.
Well, we're already on a tumble taking away scoring pylons.
Oh my God.
We haven't even talked about that.
Somebody in the Midwest tour posted a picture of the scoring. Oh, I think it was Fredrickson. When he was on his live on Friday morning, he posted it
Oh,
here
on the
on the racetrack, and he goes, "Don't worry, we're not taking our scoring pylons. Don't like the big guys."
I mean, ours only have the 5 positions on them, but they still matter, damn it.
Goddamn right.
And we get the timing loops. We get to see qualifying times on there too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So obviously Larson gets the win. Busher finishes second, Chase Elliott third, Truex fourth, Hamlin fifth, Christopher Bell sixth, Bowman seventh, Kyle Busch eighth, Noah Gragson ninth, and Michael McDowell round out your top 10. Just some quick notes here before we get into the old weekly Gluck check-in. Solid effort from Gragson and McDowell.
Yes.
For the Ford camp. Great bounce back for Rowdy there to get a top 10 after he self-induced caution there at the end. Spun himself. And then lastly, interesting that it happened was Denny not getting a great restart there at the end there in overtime. Just I don't know if he spun him or what, but on being on the front row, he just did not take off. And so kind of some interesting quick hitters there, but yeah, fantastic race.
Before we jump into the Gluck poll again, I want to bring up point number 2 that I talked about. Some guys that struggled. Ty Gibbs, he had a unscouted pit stop that sent him back. He had just a terrible finish.
Right
Daniel
at the end.
Suarez, yep. Daniel Suarez didn't run good. William Byron finished 23rd. He did not have himself a great day. Tyler Reddick, he was up at the front at one point and then fell back. It just never came back. Ross Chastain was up front, never came back. Bubba Wallace, 17th. Yeah, just some guys that you kind of expected to be up front just weren't there.
Ryan Priest, 28th.
Yep. Logano, 34th.
Yeah.
I think things are going to turn around for Priest though, starting this week.
Oh boy.
So for those
You mean get
background
back into
here,
the driver meetings?
How does
which
that
I,
happen?
yeah,
How does that happen?
he made a comment on Sirius XM about, yeah, apparently there's some driver meetings started up a couple weekends ago, and I didn't know they were a part of them. It's a right after my competition meeting with my engineer and my crew chief. So as soon as I get done with that, I'm moving over to the drivers meeting.
Yeesh.
So, um, no, otherwise, yeah, you want to talk about Gluck's poll real quick here?
Yeah.
I, this one's like 50-50, I think.
Well,
I just
according to the old Jeffy, well, Nick Hoffman's at the baseball game, by the way. According to the old Jeffy, it's a new poll record.
yep. Yep. Hit 43,300 votes.
I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah, I just checked it. It was 95.8 to 4.2.
Yep. And out of the 312 races polled over the 8 years, it's number one.
Deservedly so.
And then I think it beat, I thought it was one of the Bristol races that it beat.
Probably was the night race when Harvick roughed up. Harvick and Elliott
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Yep. Yep. 2021 Bristol.
Yeah.
Some other stats go with it. So all 5 next gen Kansas races have scored at least 86%. The spring race last year was also number one for the year. Um, so then 2 of the 4 best races ever in the poll have come in the last couple months, with Atlanta being number 4 all time on the list.
Yeah. Deservedly so. Close finish ever in the sport. So,
And a great race throughout as well.
yep. For sure.
Yeah. So, again, hopefully a lot of new fans are sticking with us, that we brought on from the Netflix series, but kind of touch on it, for somebody that came on with us, from the series, and you had in Atlanta and, stuff like this, and people start seeing some of these highlights. It's fantastic for the sport. People start talking about this, and hopefully it's a reason. Um, Again, if they don't watch, they see a finish like that and say, maybe I'll tune in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, historic finish, great racetrack. I wish the season finale was not in November, because I was thinking about when we built our own schedule. I'm like, gosh, we should put Kansas as the championship race. But
Well, and somebody made a comment of actually it was Kim Kuhn. She made a comment in the middle of the race of, this race in the fall better be sold out. And then after the race, she basically commented on her own post and said, briefing this again, better be sold out.
yep,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And for the record, for anybody that's listening, the seats are fantastic because it's almost every other. So you're not having people, crawl across here. You get plenty of leg room. You get tables to put your food and beer on.
Okay. Yeah.
So
All right.
for the record.
Good record to have.
So yeah, fantastic NASCAR race. Again, closest one in history. So, if we don't have any final thoughts, we're gonna get into a little bit of an oddball section. Not sure what we call it. I don't know. Random racing,
Just touch
random
on quick
racing
things that
frenzy.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So, random racing frenzy, segment. You guys can hop in with, 1 or 2 points that we had, that random stuff that you guys want to talk about. So kick it off to you guys. Hit us with some random facts.
Well, I'll start with Lando Norris. We'll start with Formula One. They raced in Miami this weekend. Uh, Lando Norris gets career win number one. He's probably one of the more likable guys in Formula One. Probably one of the more down to earth and relatable guys. Finally gets his first career win. So everybody was super excited about that. Even the guys that finished second and third were super happy for him. Absolutely doused him in champagne in victory lane. He didn't even have a chance. I mean, it was a 2-on-1. Just them two popped their bombs before he even got his shaken up, and he was doused.
That's
So,
funny.
but no, good for him. Everybody's super happy about that, and F1's just kind of hit a high peak this weekend with that win. So,
I was gonna say I call it the old G1. Uh, I don't know if you see any McAfee stuff, but I saw a highlight last night. He calls it G1 because it's not not Formula One, it's not racing. You can just throw a random letter. So he threw G1. And when he talks about, he's like, I can just throw a random letter in front of it. So it's G1. But
sure.
um, yeah, I'll jump in here. Kyle Larson was more than thrilled. He passed the crown to, what was it, the dumbest celebration crown.
Not necessarily the dumbest celebration, but just as the individual that received the crown phrased it as was moron move.
Yeah, that's one way to phrase it.
So yeah, he wins a race and he sends her upside down, on his dome in his wingless sprint.
USAC.
USAC. Um,
Justin Grant.
His interview afterwards was great. It was a great interview afterwards. So if you catch it,
Now, how do you even tech a race car like that?
right. But no, that was a just funny thing of him. Um, Flips are trying to celebrate a little bit. Like you said, Larson can hand that crown off and take a new one with the closest finish. So,
Yep.
but no, that was pretty funny. Like I said, I saw the interview of it. He's like, God, I'm such a freaking moron, and so on and so forth.
That's exactly how he is too. He just calls a spade a spade.
Yep. Yep.
In
So,
other NASCAR news, Carson Kvapil, he's got 6 more starts in the 88 for Junior Motorsports.
and I read something from Matt Weaver on that too. It does not interfere with his Cars tour schedule. So
You
he's
had to
still going to be
know
able to compete for the championship.
Junior was going to work that out after that first miss race.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then he wins this weekend. He said, yeah, we'll fix that.
Yep.
So good for him. He's obviously proven that he can wheel one of them cars without a doubt.
I didn't see if they had a list of what tracks he was going to run, and shame on
Start
me for not looking.
starting this weekend at Darlington.
So that's going to be interesting. That's
Too tough to tame, as they call it.
that one chews some people up. That lady in black, she's not nice.
Nope. So it'd be good for him.
and last kind of interesting news from last week, kind of randomly drops a race nugget in on us. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. signs an extension with JTG. So
Multi-year extension.
multi-year, good catch.
So there was something that came of that too. One of the 3 owners in there was not involved in any quotes about the release. So there's kind of the speculation too of whether that owner's on the way out. I believe he's the owner that brought in the Kroger sponsor as well. So
Which Kroger went with, who did they sponsor earlier this year?
One of the Stewart Haas cars.
Was it Gregson? Now that you say that, I remember somebody said interesting move here. Kroger went and sponsored somebody else.
It was a Stewart Haas car.
yeah.
Forget who it is, but
So I mean that was just something interesting that came up during that release as well. So
yeah.
So, well, again, this is another hot topic in the sport. We know that JTD is going to have a car in the field somewhere. They're not selling out to somebody else. So we do know
And
that the
and there's
47
the
is going to be alive.
Yep.
rumors with Stuart Haas about what they're doing with their charters.
Yep.
We confirmed that the 47 will be a part of NASCAR as JTD Doherty.
Yep.
So, yeah. That's the 5 minutes of fun in your random tidbits of racing on this fine. You'll see this on Wednesday.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of like that segment. Each bring a random fact and talk about it. So yeah, without further ado, as we always do, let's jump into a couple race previews that you'll probably see later this week. Kick it off, Kellen.
Yeah, Castrol Full Racing Night in America finally gets the season kicked off. They will be racing Wednesday, May 8th for 20 grand and Thursday, May 9th for 20 grand. That'll be Spoon River in Lincoln. You can certainly catch that on Flow Racing. So they'll have those two races on back-to-back nights, and then they'll go again on the 14th at Brownstown for another 20 grand. So they got 60 grand up for grabs here in the next 7 days of racing.
Yeah, big paydays, and this brings back real fond memories because it was last year, May 16th. I don't know where it was, but it was a Castrol Flow Racing night. Kellen was watching, and he's like, "Dude, you got to watch this." And it was at that moment to watch the race. I'm like, "All right, I'm just doing it." So to watch a Castrol Flow night in America race, I spent a well spent $160 to get the Flow subscription. So bringing back fond memories, season opener, and my subscription coming due next week. So, but I will be jumping into Cup Series at Darlington. Um, again, this is going to be, if you haven't seen it, throwback weekend. A lot of throwback paint schemes. Um, like it or not, unique weekend. One of our own, Derek Kraus gets his second weekend in a row, fourth start of the year. Had a tough weekend last weekend, but this track usually eats tires. And not only does it eat tires, but the boys are going to be banging the wall because you got to get the Darlington stripe before you leave. So it's going to be a wild race. It's going to be fun to watch, and stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and I will be boots on the ground this weekend, sticking with some super late model racing up here in the Midwest of Wisconsin. I will be at Wisconsin International Raceway for the Tundra Super Late Models. They start their season this weekend with the Bear. Sawyer Efforts is your 2023 winner. A lot of guys were testing this past weekend as well in preparation for this, so it should be interesting to see what kind of car count shows up there. I've always enjoyed the Tundra series. It kind of just adds a unique perspective to it, and you get partners for the point standings as well. So if a guy misses this one but goes to the rest of the races, still in contention for the championship. So, um, no, I'll be excited for that. Saturday afternoon they race for that one. No, it should be a great race. Otherwise, looking at some other races on the schedule this weekend, as I pull this up here, World Outlaws are racing on Wednesday night as well with with the Flow Racing Night in America. They're going to be at Lincoln Speedway. High Limits racing again at 34 Raceway. USAC's in action again as they're going to Bloomington. Um, Obviously NASCAR's over in Darlington. Lucas Oil's at Farmer City. You got the Soto late models in action. World Outlaws at Williams Grove as well. And IndyCar is racing on the Indy Road Course, which should be the final race before the Indy 500. High Limit at Tri City as well. And then IMSA's racing this weekend as well. They are at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. So again, a lot of racing going on. No shortage as far as um, what kind of racing you're looking for. You got about everything on the schedule that you could be thinking of. So be sure to tune in wherever you can, or go to the racetrack if you want as well. Should we talk about fantasy here a little bit before we make some race picks?
Yep.
So I will toot my own horn here a little bit, and I had a hell of a weekend.
That must have been an accident.
Let's see. I'm pulling up the weekly standings. I had 239 points, I believe. Yep, 239. Kurt Bushdan had 198. Colin, you had 193. Your lady had 192. Cam, you had 184. Your lady had 147, and then Dietz rounded out at 145. Overall, I extend my lead on everybody, and Cam jumps into third place in the standings.
Yeah. This is kind of wild. I was putting together my lineup on the go, and let me tell you, boys, the lineup I had in there, Carolyn mentioned to me, she's like, I'm not telling you who was in my lineup, but I'm just telling you I got some not so good guys in there because I'm gonna save the good guys for later in the year when I can just put them in every week. And that made me think, but I had Larson, Hamlin, Truex, Christopher. I mean, I just complete hammers, and I backed it off a little bit because I'm like, got a long ways to go. When I think about it, the last race before the playoffs is Labor Day.
Yep.
That's a long time. And I'm looking at some of these numbers, and I'm down to 6 and 5 on some people already. So yeah, we had to back her off a little bit. So um I don't know. I'm getting killed in the
We're
pick'ems. I hate it.
another thing too is we are almost halfway through the regular season.
Yeah.
Yep, we're getting there.
So got to keep that in mind as well. So yeah, pickings are going to get kind of interesting as season goes on, trying to keep guys and preserve for the end of the year. As far as race picks go, Cam, you jumped back in the lead for race picks with your pick of Kyle Larson. You're in the lead, 2 points above me, and then Kellen rounds out our groupings here. He is 36 points back.
Okay. All right.
So, with that in mind, like I said, I had Ty Gibbs last week, which did not result very well for me. Kellen, you had Tyler Reddick, which was a little bit better than me, but not as great as Kyle Larson, who obviously won the race last weekend. So, I get to go first, Kellen second, and then Cam, you are third. As you guys were doing your previews, I was looking for a pick. I'm going with William Byron.
You turd.
A
You're a turd.
driver who's done very good at Darlington.
I'll take Brad K.
Interesting pick. I
Finished
feel
fourth.
like we're leaving a big one here open for Cam.
He finished fourth there last year. I want Brad
Um,
K to win, so I'll pick him.
I'm gonna pick Chase Elliott.
Not not the car I was thinking you were gonna get, but not a bad pick either.
I was thinking I was gonna pick Logano and see if he could punt Byron into the wall again.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
I thought we were going to leave you the one man wheels every race car on planet Earth pick.
Correct. I thought so too.
Well, should I do it?
No, you picked.
Nope, they're locked in now.
You picked.
They're
They're
locked
tight.
in now.
Yeah, you're locked in. It's
there's
over.
there's no waffling over here. I'm confident in that pick.
All right. We'll see if your guy is dancing with the lady in black at the end of this one.
Yeah. Well, boys, any other final thoughts?
No. No.
Good week of racing.
Well, get out to your racetrack.
Looking forward to another what's going to be a solid weekend as well.
Yep, for sure.
Starts Wednesday night.
Yep.
Sure. And yeah, like we said, a ton of fun racing. It's always fun to talk about these races when we got boots on the ground and you guys are at the track and trying new things at the concession stand and getting content, and it's fun to talk about stuff like that. And
I got one final thought before we wrap up.
okay.
This episode must not be that entertaining. Just dead to the world. But yeah, no. Just get your tracks. let's keep these places alive. If you enjoy a track, if you enjoy a surface, be there, get there. Drivers, again, they love the interaction after the races as well. So find a favorite driver. If you haven't been there, go a couple weeks in a row and find a driver, and then stop and see them.
Yeah. So yeah, get out to all your any short tracks got by you. These drivers love to interact with fans and stick around and have fun and give you hero cards and talk and all that. So if you can do it, yeah. And last thing you guys said, tire changer pointed out, 3 bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit the old number 300.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
appreciate anybody that likes, comments, subscribes, watches our videos,
Watches our shorts.
watches our shorts, watches any content we put out. Again, we're almost a year into this, and I still don't think we really know what we're doing.
It could be a lack of effort, that's for sure.
Got that right.
So yeah, we're not professionals by any means. Our channel's called 3 Stones for a reason. But we love racing and we love talking about it and we're passionate about it. So it's always fun for us to get together every week. And even though we don't see each other every weekend, it feels like I see you guys literally every weekend when we do this. It's like yeah, super fun for us. We enjoy it. We have fun with it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So thank you to anybody that likes, comments, subscribes, and stay tuned later in the week. We'll be dropping some race previews and some shorts, and we'll see you guys next week.